Dr. Amy, and it is time for another Tuesday tip. Now, this is our last conversation for now about migraines, so I want to tidy up some loose ends, okay, because there's a lot of things related to MTHFR that are also related to migraines. Unfortunate, but true. One of them is histamine. Now, we all know about histamine for allergies, but interestingly, there's been some research on histamine as a preventative medicine for migraines. Now, as far as I'm aware, it is not available yet from doctors, but there's really interesting research that a low dose of histamine throughout the month will actually help to prevent migraines. Now, why is this happening? God only knows. I have no idea. But I do find it to be incredibly interesting. Also, many people experience migraines related to things that may be histamine related, right? So chemical sensitivities, right? Like people walk through the perfume aisle or walk through the laundry detergent aisle at the store and get a migraine related to the smell of those chemicals. That could be histamine related. It could be toxicity. It could be something else, but it's interesting to think about. Also, there are people who get allergic migraines, right? So their allergies will trigger a migraine, which brings the whole histamine issue into question. Now, on the podcast, I've talked before about low histamine and whether that's actually a problem, because in my opinion, there are things that look like high histamine allergies that are very typical, right? Like the sneezing, watery eyes, hay fever type allergies. And then there's things that look to me like some other form of allergies, and I'm going to call them low histamine allergies. And these are people who usually don't test high for histamines, but have obvious allergy things happening that are seasonal, that are predictable, that are repeatable, but that don't follow the normal allergy pattern. And I would call those low histamine allergies. And so that's things like the back of my neck gets super tight and I get a headache and it lasts for all of February, right? Like every year. Okay, something's going on there. And I would call that a low histamine allergy. So I think the relationship between histamine and allergies is migraines is very complicated. And I think we're just really scratching the surface here. But I also think histamine by itself is complicated, and we're just scratching the surface of our understanding. So more to come on that, I hope. Also, what we're seeing is blood sugar can be a trigger for migraines for some people, and obviously blood sugar is an issue for MTHFR folks. So people with MTHFR are more likely to have blood sugar variability that leads to blood sugar related diseases later on, right? So we're a little bit more prone to these conditions. That is things like insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, gestational diabetes, that sort of thing. And so Alzheimer's disease, that is also a blood sugar issue. And so when we look at blood sugar, keeping blood sugar steady can be a way to actually prevent migraines in the short term, because those big peaks and valleys in your blood sugar, right? When you eat something sugary, your blood sugar spikes and then it drops, like just tanks and bottoms out. That's where you're going to see a migraine if your migraines are sensitive to blood sugars, which a lot of people's are. So we want to prevent those. And we did a whole month or so of Tuesday tips about that. So go back and look at those if you have not already. Very worth watching because blood sugar matters. Also, homocysteine. So we all know that MTHFR and having an MTHFR polymorphism is a risk factor for having high blood levels of homocysteine, which is an inflammatory marker. It's something that we don't really want. And homocysteine is linked to all sorts of complications that are also linked to MTHFR. One of those is migraine. So if you have higher homocysteine levels in your blood, you are more likely to have migraines. Likewise, more likely to have all sorts of other complications like stroke, like worse outcomes in COVID-19, like pregnancy complications, like blah, 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 blah. The list goes on, right? So managing homocysteine levels is one of the things that is kind of a primary goal when you have an MTHFR polymorphism. And we do that by doing literally everything we talk about here, right? Getting the folic acid out of your diet, adding in a methylfolate if you tolerate it. If you don't tolerate methylfolate, then adding in another MTHFR safe folate and a methylation driver. But that is the goal, getting homocysteine down to normal and also managing all of your symptoms is the goal. So these things are all related to migraine. So migraine is very obviously complex and multifactorial, and we want to make sure that we're doing as many of the things to prevent migraines as we can. And so that means getting your riboflavin, taking care of your methylation by doing the MTHFR things that will also bring down your homocysteine, exploring the hormone connection and really trying to keep your hormones a little bit in check and managed. And then also blood sugar, right? Balance your blood sugar. Stick to a better diet, really work on some of those suggestions that we gave. Check the blog at tohealthwiththat.com if you don't remember what those are. We've got lots and lots of articles about blood sugar. Also, we've got them in past Tuesday tips. So just really deep dive, do the work, and have less pain, because pain sucks, right? Control your migraines because it's possible. Okay, Tuesday tip. Bye, guys.